the verses that we're going to use will help. What's the word I'm looking for? Not guide. Verify, confirm, show the way of where our thoughts are going. Okay, let's start off with. Got everything covered up here. Hold on a minute. Just a minute. We're looking for Luke. No, Acts. All these verses, they went back to 0. Give me a minute here. Well, here's the Acts one. We'll start with that. Acts 26:27, and it's the verse from which we got the title. King Agrippa, believest thou the prophets? I know that thou believest. So we know that he was King Agrippa had some respect for the prophets, believed them actually, according to the verse, and the Roman Empire did that. They would, similar to the picking of a cabinet here. I mean, they would pick a local king so that there would be less friction with the local people when the edicts come down from Rome. Excuse me just a minute. Sorry about that. So that's the first one. The second verse, it just evaporated here. Luke 2:25, 25. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And you probably remember the account of Simeon. The same man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Ghost was upon him, and it was revealed unto him by the Holy Ghost that he should not see death before he had seen the Lord's Christ, or God's Messiah, the Lord's Christ. So let's look at the next one here. Give me a second to pull it up. Matthew 2, verses 1 to 7. Tells about where Christ would be born and when. Verse 1, now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. Couple more verses here. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. So that's the where and the when of the occurrences there revealed. And let's look in Daniel. Daniel 7, verses 24. Well, we'll start with Daniel 9, actually. Daniel 9, verse 7. And then we'll jump down to 24. Verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day, to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near, and that are far off. So there you've got the near and the far off back then too. Through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass, that they have trespassed against thee. And then coming down to verse 24. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon thy holy city, to finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. So let's go on down. We'll read down through 27. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah, the Prince, shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks, and 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again, and the wall even in troublous times. And after 62 weeks, so there's that 62 weeks again. They were in the verse before, if you notice, 62 weeks, the street shall be built again. And it says, after the 62 weeks, Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And hold on a minute here, I lost my place. Shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself, and the prince of the people that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation. And that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So, we read pretty much, I think that's all the relevant, or most of the, there's another big one coming up actually. But we read about after 62 weeks in Daniel 9:26. What 62 weeks? What is that? Is Daniel referring to Daniel 9:26? Daniel is referring to the 62 weeks in that previous verse in Daniel 9:25. the 62 weeks that follow the 7 weeks in Daniel 9:25. So it's not from the beginning, it's from where it left off in the verse before. In other words, it would be after the 7 plus the 62. 7 weeks and 60 weeks, that would be 67, right? 7 and 60, and also then the 2 weeks. The 2 weeks would be, bring it to 69 weeks. And what's a week? 7 days, or 7 years in this case. 7 years. So 7 times 69 comes to 483. 483. Well, what about the verses ended up there that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Remember Matthew 5, verse 5? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. In Zechariah 12, verses 8 to 11, especially verse 10, we see that what is determined to be poured upon them is the spirit of grace and of supplications. And to read the verse, to Zechariah 12:10, we see that, let me get at the beginning of the verse here, and I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced. They shall mourn for him. And that's where that mourn comes in. It's poured upon, the spirit of grace and supplication is poured upon the mourners, the ones that pierced him, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him, as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. So here we see the commandment went forth to restore and build Jerusalem, about which Daniel prophesied. Well, let's see when that order went forth. We're going to look in Nehemiah chapter 2, starting in verse 1. And it came to pass in the month of Nisan, or Nisan, in the 20th year of Artaxerxes the king, that wine was before him. And this is Daniel writing, so I would be Daniel. And I took up the wine and gave it to the king. Now I had not been beforetime sad in his presence. In other words, he didn't keep crying wolf. Verse 2, Wherefore the king said unto me, Why is thy countenance sad, seeing thou art not sick? This is nothing else but sorrow of heart. Then I was very sore afraid, and said unto the king, Let the king live forever. So should not... Hold on just a minute, please. And said unto the king, Let the king live forever. Why should not my countenance be sad? When the city, the place of my father's sepulchres, lieth waste, and the gates thereof are consumed with fire. Verse 4, And then the king said unto me, For what dost thou make request? So I prayed to the God of heaven, and I said to the king, and notice the order here, he prayed to God and he said to the king, If it please the king, and if thy servant have found favor in thy sight, that thou wouldst send me unto Judah, unto the city of my father's sepulchres, that I may build it. Verse 6, and the king said unto me, the queen sitting beside him, how long shall thy journey be, and when wilt thou return? So it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. So there's the sending right there at the end of verse 6, Nehemiah 2:6. It pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. Moreover, I said unto the king, if it please the king, let letters be given me to the governors beyond the river, that they may convey me over till I come unto Judah. So, should we read? Let me read one more verse to fill it out here. And a letter unto Asaph, the keeper of the king's forest, that he may give me timber to make beams for the gates of the palace, which appertained to the house, and for the wall of the city, and for the house that I shall enter into. And the king granted me, according to the good hand of my God upon me. So, what about that 69 weeks we had counted and accounted for? What were the events of the 69 weeks? Which ones actually occurred and which ones didn't? Daniel 9:26, shall Messiah be cut off? Yeah, he was cut off at the cross. Acts 3:13-15, you denied the Holy One and just, and desired a murderer to be granted unto you, and killed the Prince of Life. That happened. Romans 4:24 and 25, who was delivered for our offenses and was raised again for our justification. Those were all prophesied to occur within the first 69 weeks of Daniel's 70-week prophecy. The events of the 70th week have not yet occurred. Daniel 9:24, to finish the transgression and to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. He shall confirm the covenant in the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. We read about that, didn't we? So this study is about the events of Daniel's 70th week, and those events have not yet occurred in the 1 week of 7 years that immediately followed the 69th week of years. So there were 70 weeks prophesied, 69 of them occurred, and the 70th week has not yet occurred. 1 week of years. So that would be 7 years, in other words. That delay in the occurrence of the events of the 70th week involves 2 issues. And I don't think we can cover them all in one. We're going to take those next, tomorrow night. I'm assuming everybody will be here tomorrow night. But in order to show where Israel's progress in that 70-week prophecy, where the progress of the events was interrupted, we both need to scripturally document the fall of the nation Israel by committing their unforgivable sin, and we need to scripturally document the acceptable year of the Lord. And so we'll stop there and go with the other lesson, unless there are questions. Any questions we have time for? Bring them up. Any questions? I don't see any questions. So, alright, let me find the lesson here. Where'd it go? I had it here. Oh, there it is. Too many things on my screen.